everyone, and welcome back to Julia Speed Builds. I am Julia, long time no see, and today we are going to be building a tiny house with only base game and cats and dogs items. So similar to some of the other tiny house builds we've done on my channel, this is going to be called Tiny Cats and Dogs House on the gallery if you do wish to find it at the end. I believe this is a 20 by 20 lot in Brindleton Bay. It is on the right side of the map, kind of in the middle. It's the boathouse, and I really enjoy that idea for kind of the style of what we did. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with pretty much an open floor plan, but it is a tier 3 tiny home, which does mean if you do choose to play in it, it will have reduced bills and whatnot. Also, one of the lot traits is cat hangout, and I didn't realize until I actually played in this house just how real the Sims developers got with cat hangout as a lot trait, because I don't know, at a certain time in the morning when you're playing through it, like 5 or 6 cats just show up at your door and like want to be in and like jump all over your furniture and everything. It's precious. So I highly recommend, if you have cats and dogs, or if you don't have it and it's still on sale. I don't quite know if the sales are still going on. If you like cats or dogs, because I'm assuming dog hangout is very similar, it's a great trait for your lot. It was really fun. So anyways, we have kind of blocked out the floor plan at this point. There's at the front entrance a little nook. We end up putting an office there. We originally were going to put the bathroom in that left side nook, but we moved it to the right because the kitchen just felt too big in the beginning. The living room is right off of the kitchen, as you can see here. We're just placing down some furniture to mark all the space off, and then we've got that dining space with all those windows surrounding it. I really liked the idea of just kind of like a sunroom, and so we incorporated that onto the back of the house, especially on this lot too. It kind of overlooks the ocean, and you know, we know it's not the real ocean, but it's still pretty beautiful. So it's a great little feature in my opinion. Here we have the bedroom. I like to imagine that a younger Sim lives in this house. I know we have some of like the more vintage style going on, maybe a little bit more grandma-ish, but with it being a cat hangout in a tiny house, I thought maybe a younger, more feminine Sim lives here by themselves and is maybe a writer. So that's what we incorporated into that desk space as well that we end up putting in there. Honestly, I would love to live in this house. This is the first build I've done in a while where I legitimately like played in it for a couple days or weeks or seasons in it afterwards, because I genuinely loved the way it looked and the way it felt. And then I've never played with a pet in the game before, even though I have owned this pack for a little bit, because typically I decide to buy packs based on what the build items are. And so I love the style of all the build items in this, but I never played through with a pet before, and so it was a great time when I did finally do that. So in this bathroom, we did use one of the wallpapers from Cats and Dogs. Typically, I'm hesitant to use kind of those wood paneled and wallpapered I guess it's literally a wallpaper. Yeah, wallpaper. Just because it kind of fights for the attention of the other color swatches on the furniture in the room, because it's got the stripes, and I feel like a bunch of the color swatches in The Sims just kind of go crazy with color and stripes, and so I typically choose just like plain wall colorings or just plain paneling, so that it doesn't get too busy. We put a little desk in this nook. This is where I assume our Sim character will be writing. I do think there's a little bit of a problem with the chair specifically that's at that desk. I have never really had a problem before putting dining chairs at desks, but for some reason you have to tell your sim to sit at the chair before they can go to the computer. They want to go to the computer, they put it in their own little, like if you leave your sims be for a minute, the sim will automatically want to go to the computer, but they can't sit down, and so it cancels the action for them. So if you want to maybe change that chair, I thought it was just really cute with the style of everything else going on. But yeah, it was at this point after decorating the whole inside that I realized we neglected the outside. And normally I decorate the outside first, but when I realized I wanted a window somewhere, I realized that we needed to go back and do all the outside and figure out where to place the windows and what would change on the inside because of that. I put down that gray shingle at first just because I thought it was kind of neutral and pretty, and it came with cats and dogs, so I thought it'd be fun to use it. We do end up changing it to just a paneling, but I really like it. We probably could have kept it and been fine. All of these windows are from cats and dogs as well, and I really like this front little porch stoop. It's not like huge, and you couldn't really do a seating area on it, but it's just nice and welcoming. One of the things I did with the roof to make it work for what I wanted was that the main kind of lateral roof you see there is actually 3 separate pieces so that I could adjust the like hangover amount so that it wasn't sticking out underneath that awning there. And then the roof piece for the awning on the front is mostly pushed back towards the main wall of the house, and then the overhang I dragged out further so that there's a little bit of space underneath the roof instead of it immediately like having a block under there. I don't really know how to explain it more, but if you try to follow it, I think it'll make sense. But anyways, so now we're on to this bedroom. I switched out the beds that we had in the beginning, and I really like this green color swatch. I liked green as kind of just a color motif throughout the whole build, but we do end up changing that as well, I think, to blue. But I thought this was just like a nice, simple bedroom. If the sim living here is kind of not a materialism kind of sim, they have really everything they need for it to be like comfy and cozy, and feel eclectic but not cluttered. I think that's one of the things everyone tries to achieve in The Sims is how to get more clutter in here and make it feel lived in, and honestly that's one of the things I really like about this build is that it feels cluttered and lived in, but there's honestly not a lot of stuff in it. I think it's just the style of cats and dogs as a pack in general and the build items is they feel pretty eclectic, so I definitely recommend that. This honestly is one of my more favorite packs, especially the expansion packs. It adds some really good gameplay to your game. I also love this little trunk of books. That is a great addition to this. That kind of sealed for me the idea that the sim who lives here is a writer. I feel like I say that a lot of just like the sims that I like build, or the houses I build for the sims are always writers for some reason. I think that's because it's an easy way to make money in the game. You get like royalties on the books you write, and I kind of want to do that in real life, so you know what, we'll see. I also love that lamp that I just placed down, the floor lamp. It comes with cats and dogs, and it is beautiful. It's another little vintage eclectic kind of a style. And then also that overhanging one over the dining room. Those candles I feel like are very farmhouse style. And then obviously these little base game palm trees I thought were good in the sunny area because they're kind of beachy, and this lot is by the beach. And then also these paintings that I keep putting up, I think those are like the best paintings that you can get from any pack in The Sims. Base game included. They're just beautiful. They've got some nice color swatches, and they're just like modern and have some good actual like style to them. We added little sailor motifs through here since it's still a boathouse. We put some wine down there, a little milk carton, or a crate, I guess, I don't know. Some decorative plates, just like natural clutter for your kitchen. I really like this kitchen though because it's small, but it's everything you need, but it still has some ambiance to it. We put some plants by the window there too. I love the windows behind those counters. Normally, when I have windows behind counters, I like to use the little half cabinet so that you can see more of the sunlight, but it didn't work with the two side pieces right there. It looked kind of weird, so I didn't end up doing that. I also never talked about that green rug in the living room. I love that rug too. We ended up using it in the bedroom. It's got some nice color swatches, but I feel like I don't utilize it enough. Rugs in this pack are also baller. I've got one under the dining room and in the kitchen and by the front door and under the desk. All those little woven rugs there I think are really pretty and have some good swatches. We're just adding some clutter now. We added a coat rack just to make the space feel more lived in. But honestly, this house is just so cozy. I really wish I lived here. Also because it's not too big and it's not too small, because it's not like a tiny house. It's still classified as a small home. But I definitely would call it that, like in real life. It's just a perfectly little small home for one person, where it's not too big that you can't keep it clean, and it's not so small that you feel like you need to stretch your legs. Love that. There's also some great trees in Cats and Dogs, especially that white one in the back there, and then these birch trees. And I was just trying to give the skyline a little bit of depth. And then we moved on to these hedges. This was something that I saw on one of the EA builds in Brindleton Bay. Instead of having a fence, they just had these bushes, which I thought was really interesting, so I tried to incorporate that as well. Also, those little hosta plants, they're like desert plants or succulents. Those come with the pack as well, and I think those are a great item to use. They just come with a bunch of green swatches, but they're all very distinctly different greens. I think they're really good. They're really cute. We put some rocks in there too. They added a little bit of texture, and then we added some window hanging plant basket things. And some lighting so that you can light up the house at night. And I made sure to add some cat toys around. I know it's cats and dogs, but I thought for the sim that I imagine living here, cats were more appropriate. And then we've just got some toys and skill building items for the pets themselves in the backyard. I don't even know how to use most of them yet, but I thought they were fun. So yeah, I hope y'all liked this build. I've had some finals recently, so I haven't been posting as much, but that will soon change. I hope you are all doing well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.